something within tends to, you know, take possession of you. You are here now, if you want to say like that, or you can point to yourself by saying I am here now. But there is mostly I, which is described, and mostly looking within that I, and realize who you truly are is key. Is here now means that which you are looking for is not far. It's actually the looking itself. And the voice within that seems is not who you are, is actually a word for it, so you can label it Runanabunda. But what is this about? It feels like running from, you know, being. I remember I went to some presentation where I listened to a guy talking about something which implies to know thyself. Like, for example, when you sense yourself, when you sense that your computer is flooded with information, you say, I'm like that. And I, who is flooded, cannot be the flood. Therefore, it shines through, and you think it's pulling you when actually it is the one who is pushing. So if you push, then the other can notice certain pull because doesn't know to deflect, yield, and let go. So this is mostly inspired from Chinese martial arts or simple understanding of throwing a ball into a wall. The force that you use will come back to you. Or, find different sockets. This has deep implications. That's why I would say I don't like to work with force, to force things. I'm not talking about gym, where the key is to pay attention to the moving, to the exercise. And the exploration is mostly similar with looking through the cracks or looking to the words on a white paper and finding out insight into the moment. Moment, it's not quite what you think it is. The present moment is not a point in time. It's not a means to an end. It's not some step to escape. It is what it is. And the conscious being that you are. And in that particular moment, if you want to look away from it, basically thinking is not here, that is there. It's basically the stress within. So the mental ability to reason, to perceive the meaning behind needs to be with intention, or at least to realize the source with no clinging. And find the peace within that passes all understanding. And then a thought arises about the situation in which you find yourself in, and the situation is not quite nice. My mother's partner is a former some force institutions, and I don't like the I don't like that because I can also watch and look and waste time and find the good and the bad and the role of agent. So next to this, you might think of some stairs to a certain height where some promise is. Kingdom of heaven doesn't come with signs to be perceived. So it's mostly a balance that you practice in order to defend your job, to defend your profession, to defend your skill. So that's me. And the thing is, I can also let the profession aside if you want, but you also have to do that because otherwise we are talking only about loss, and loss without gain is use of force, which I don't recommend. You can waste time, okay? I can do my stuff and watch the world burn, and we all are then guilty. I I recommend watching Jordan B. Peterson. He mentioned that not saying anything when you have something to say is also not that good. So, what I have to say here now is to stand up for yourself. Stand up for yourself and overcome the victim role. If you like the stairs, you can use the stairs. If you like the certain certain roads, you can use particular roads. If you like nature, so there is a subtle sense of freedom within. So you have to also uh, look at that and see the reality of it. You might not be free to travel outside of the country because you did something wrong. Like, for example, You said something about I don't know that affected democracy. I don't know. So basically, there is something you might that you did something wrong. Like for example, there is mostly related with Bible reading, and I think the issue, what you did wrong, is that you choose um, to travel outside of the country without being allowed by by mental institution, which is the collective mind. So I think this is madness. You can travel. The constitution allows you to travel. You can also, even if you notice that there is something that feels as response, as reaction from outside, that seems some sort of conspirational theory or a reaction that is actually true, that's your intuition screaming at you. From my point of view, I am watched out by former uh, police institutions because they might think I will do something bad, not now, but in the future. And until that particular future, we must, keep each other busy, and not only each other, also keep like a Sado busy, or they use different name. So this context is about law. There is a country law. There is, the house law, as you feel inside your house, as little bit of privacy. There is also, if you have some uh, power or function, you can say that you are the law, but that's mostly bullshit because some time ago here in Băile Herculane, a law person told me to jump in the front of a car, and as I watching the car passing by, the number of the car was exactly die, which somehow since then I say, okay, law is mostly a kind of man thing, and if you have a gun, you can just talk about law as thinking that you can just abuse power, maybe without even knowing what the law is, or you might have a certain higher function and present yourself as the law, And the law basically is, you know, also not only a particular, setting. There is also other perceptions you might not know. I've been in HMP prison, UK, for strange reasons, and then let go and deported. And I would say that's still a part of the law here now. You might, I don't know, sense that there is a law of the land, and they ignore the other laws. So therefore, we're talking about CEDAW, which is, I think, the European Convention of Human Rights. Well, talking like this is forbidden because the power you are seen as a pawn in this big game, and you have to know your stanza. So I think this points to certain poetry, which makes me remind, it makes me uh, remember of some policemen get who got too close to me and confused its work with closeness. So that's the clash of some particular laws, because you as a policeman you cannot you know there is Article 26 from Constitution that doesn't allow you to violate the privacy, and the privacy is also mental, because if I sense you enter my Google account, then I might have two options: to pull to accept your indiscretion, or to pull myself out of the situation. So that's why I don't use force. In computer art, force is not useful at all. It might be useful, but we're talking here about things that I'm afraid of actually to talk. But on the other hand, I sense that not talking about it is what Jordan B. Peterson said. So Therefore, I have the right to defend myself. There is no law that says you have to sacrifice or to accept a scapegoat uh, image. So I put that aside. So there are more motives arise from within, like religious motives, and besides that, madness, I could say, because if I met you as a religious person and you make me think that the computer turns into an elephant, then seems that particular mental emotional pattern is not good for and science and religion. Religion is fine from my understanding. Therefore, it's something else which probably is to be respected, like a certain practice, certain closeness to God. There is a saying, do not. There is a saying from Lu- Lucian Blaga. I do not crush the world's corolla of wonders. I do not crush the world's corolla of wonders, which means, if you think you have power over others, then you might practice humbleness, just to not mess around with people thinking that you are right. I remember this some time ago. I was in Timisoara trying to learn something new. There was a course for sensorial theater to be able to sense outside stimuli like touch, smell, and so on to develop that particular aspect of who you are. In other words, I can say now to come to your senses. There was also improvisation theater art, which was quite awesome. And I think that was my exodus because I've been learning to express myself point of view that is not related with who I thought I am or who I think I am even now, because if you think that you are a painter or see yourself painting, that's not who you are. That's a mental emotional formation that you can become aware of more deeper than just thinking that the expression that you perceive is who you are. Then a conclusion, you look for a conclusion, and the conclusion that you look for is something that you want to strongly believe and say, I know, that's it. And then, continue your work and be satisfied that you got outside validation mostly like the kids do. Kids wants to say, "Look, mom, I'm wonderful person," and then the other must say, "No, you are mad," and then your inner state is mostly determined by outside circumstances, outside situation. Here in this city is mostly the geography, and the geography is that the city is between mountains on a valley. If you want to create a correlation between this valley and different valley, then that's to enhance your sense of self. There's this uh, need to become something and feel important. So I sense the bigotry here, and I think mostly that's a reflection of looking at mountains. You can notice that if you travel to the city, Bel Herculane, and I look to a certain word again, the word crash. Do not crush the world's corolla of wonders. And here, this is kind of something that I feel I have to remember, because also imply that you have to be careful of how you talk with a person, what you say to a person, and I cannot deny that, I cannot question, because it's somehow uh, the it's pointing to the awareness within, which implies to again looking at it as object-oriented programming, where you look for the object. There is something about this, import this, just to change the context from philosophy to programming. Programming in Python can be also by using classes and objects representations, and you have import this, and this is some sort of philosophy with certain points that contains couple of insights. You can test yourself by writing import space this in Python. So I'm a little bit dependent on computer art, and that's my thing, which keeps me on a certain balance from the point of view of mental. Um, you can basically describe through computer art almost every aspect of human endeavor. There are analogies you can use, and I find it actually very pleasant to work with. So if there is a certain push or pull to a different context, like for example what a doctor is studying, then I just realized that there is maybe a deeper understanding. So a different level, there are different level like junior, senior, uh, master. I don't know if there is also doctor in computer art. Probably is, probably not. No, there is no such thing. But actually, that's not my thing. So I guess I'm somehow perceived in someone else's mind as you know uh, very specific label. So if a very specific label is required, first of all, the person that is projecting any label on you has to be able to listen for a lesson at least to you about OOP. Object-oriented programming is actually very nice to represent almost everything from real life. And the problem is that is too difficult. So here I am basically looking to defend myself and defend my profession and try to act out some sort of a role, and the role is a role of a savior. You want to be saved, but you want to be saved in your own way. You want to be saved by listening to the music that you like. You don't like to listen to a music that you don't like, which seems that is common sense. So then the only thing that is between is an invisible light, and we can call that Wi-Fi. And that's basically the end of it. And there is the Wi-Fi, and to communicate, there is a little bit of time involved. You need time to write the program that is using sockets. You need to understand the protocol. You need to know what it is about. There is a certain protocol, like chat, for example. You can send a message, and then you get on the other side the message, and you choose what to do with the message. And by saying you means that you already have some access to the code that you want me to run on my machine to get the text. Otherwise, I can run that particular code within a container just to limit its access and see what the thing is about. And then I can see logs and certain things the program wants to do on that particular container over a port. But you choose open source software where you can also read the code and see what the code is about, what the code is doing. There are many apps like that for chat application on mobile and different other platforms. And the thing is, some platforms are not quite good because the platforms might be used for certain purposes. And I think like that because I am conscious of my programs, except certain programs. So if you want that many details about my computer, the port is open, the port 80 is open, and what I don't quite like is that I confuse the at least here in this environment, talking and mind is perceived as something. I wonder if there is any technical guy in this city, someone who someone has to build roads, someone has to build bridges, someone has to provide electricity within homes, someone has to think in a particular way, someone has to fix like plumbing, like electronics, building uh, house furniture. So the work that the person has to do imply to use the mind and use the body. There is a certain enlightenment. You cannot just go to a person and I think that the person mind is hijacked by certain aliens, and I don't want his mind because his mind seems that he's not a real patriot and blah 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 blah. That's basically, I think, the old man bringing legacy. So if there is a old software which is running in background, that's fine, is to be appreciated. No issue with it. You need resources. You need certain. There is a certain method of working where you define a timeline, and that's waterfall project management. So you have to be a little bit of a project manager. And I sense issue here. You are too many things. I want you to do just one thing. You know too much. And actually, it's not about knowing, it's about exploration. You have a particular tool, like this tool, You can do a lot. You can write graffiti and share culture stuff. So you need a waterfall project management to create something. If you confuse, label with contents, then means you are not quite a fan of Coca-Cola. And besides that, I think that time went up, and looking to the step. So if you are likely referring to waterfall project management, or more broadly linear project management, this is a method you map out the entire project from start to finish on a rigid timeline before any actual work begins. Is there any other non-linear way? Actually, I think there is Kanban, which I used to use. Yeah, there is Agile, and Kanban is actually very cool. There is three columns: a backlog, in progress, and completed. And you just add stuff in backlog. I rather prefer backlog Scrum, because doesn't imply to define a timeline. You can just let yourself be creative and express out the things you might want to use. I use for Kanban tasks from Google, where you can define different boards, lists. There are certain tools like Jira, Monday you can use. Of course, someone doesn't like these things because makes him crazy. And the thing is that if someone doesn't like what you do, it means there is some sort of persecution. If it's not persecution, then is some harassment, or is some something. There are people who doesn't like you. I personally don't have to like everybody. There are some people who I personally look at my mother's partner, who is a former cop, who is just watching what I do instead of just doing anything. And besides that, is some sort of surveillance. I know that the guy will do something bad. That kind of, I think, I feel like that because there might be also things related with, I don't know, everything. You can just take someone in your scope and study, because you confuse computer art, you confuse computer with person. This is mad. So then we are changing to a different kind of topic. And when I say this, which was previous topic, computer art, can be indeed challenging for narrow-minded people because you imply a certain discipline. You have to be able to sit. You have to be able to accept yourself. You have to be able to know yourself. You have to be able to let go of nonsense of or certain deception. And what is the point to compare one profession with different profession? This I think the parents do when they are too excited. So if it's just about you, then becoming aware of that excitement is very relevant to not create a legacy and not fill the backlog just like that. To have some patience, to take things slowly, to wait to meet your wife, your dog. These kind of things. You might maybe say you don't like what you do because the boss is a little bit pushy or goes too far ahead, and I lose my excitement. Therefore, I would like him to uh, have patience with me because I'm a slow learner. I learn not that fast. But now, with the power of AI, no need to, you know, as I remember, get too many questions. Some of the questions are, you know, responded with you already searched online for that. And as I mentioned, now there is no need for that anymore because AI will give you an answer for almost anything. And AI will also write your code, and you feel somehow outdated because you think that the narrative that they built is basically more important than the human. And the thing is, you have to know to use the things and not be used by the objects. Think of it as a musical instrument. That's why I mentioned earlier computer art. So AI, from my point of view, will not, replace you. On the contrary, it will make you more product, more fast, and it relinquishes your uh, effort to bring the pieces together and build something, which I think is awesome. And besides that, you can have some sort of ping pong and reflect yourself. There is some insight that appears that you know, don't know. This basically points to uh, conspiracy theory that someone like CIA would will look into the content and so on. So the AI is actually great. You can use for looking and studying the Bible. I look also for generating also custom prayers. It's actually awesome for exploration, for study, for all sorts of things. So I think AI is very disruptive from my point of view. Was mostly as not wanting to ask someone else and get some bad emotional response. AI is quite neutral, doesn't rely too much on emotion, although understand in a way your like lived experience based on input output ping pong. So it's great, and it also enhances your ability to perceive and awareness because you can just focus on a particular context and use questions to look like you look with a flashlight some area. That's awesome. Okay, it's good for work. It's good for also knowing yourself, knowing your patterns, and you can, for example, know yourself how you change from working to not working. When you work, it's working imply to enter a particular state, and when you are not working, you think of life situation, or who knows, you think of your cat, think of your uh, maybe tree data structure parsing algorithm, whatever you are thinking about. It's somehow mostly as thinking happens to you, or you think in a particular way. So personally, I don't quite like when thinking happens to me, when thinking happens to you, because you might lose a little bit of ground, and that's a territory of uncertainty of drama, of like you know, a boat drifting, and the focus is mostly as changing the boat. So it's a development which is good. I mean, we don't have to have that much of material possessions to reflect the actual development. So I remember some time ago while I was living in Timișoara with a woman. I chose to actually she left because maybe there were some expectations or some you know relationship is not meant to last. And then found myself free and actually felt amazing, but immediately somehow stopped, and I read a woman crossed by and had some short relationship, which actually wasn't necessary. I thought at that time, you have to wait a little bit, have, you know, uh, give yourself some time. And then that's basically wrong from authority point of view, because you have to listen and do as we tell you and do blah, 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 blah. So it's basically a thing. The blah blah is mostly uh, a certain understanding of computer art which you want to understand by just eating some bread, which I think is not possible. So you have to, communicate. You have to uh, be able to conduct a dialogue. You cannot just eat from plastic computer and think that you would accumulate knowledge like that. As madness. So if there is some some mate of mine or some priest, as I come from religious background, then I suggest to that guy uh, to create a little bit of space, because first of all, there are many passwords, and some of the passwords are becoming more and more complex. And if you want to, to tackle into the light of certain great people to enhance your sense of self and create a spiritual army, then call me on a Sunday, and I will see what I can do. Maybe some website can do for you some email address. Actually, there is my webpage where you can see more details about my services. And the great thing is recently I discovered that if you strongly believe that there will be some traffic on your website, then somehow you attract some traffic. And I don't think it's possible to attract certain kind of people and not other kind of people. Depends or depends where you promote. So promote like marketing, promotion. As I mentioned earlier, there are many aspects of it. You have to, as a CEO, you have to fire some people. You have to do yourself certain things. You have to mention about things are also interconnected in your own way, which nobody can, deny that. So, besides that, um, you have to, if you want to look beyond the, you know, like for example, I don't know why I use this analogy because it feels stupid. If some guy, some mate wants to talk with you physically, the guy has to knock the door or call prior to that, knock the door, and you have to open the door to invite the person to the table. And that's with the website also. You cannot jump directly uh, to the back end when actually seeing the page. I've been hacked a while ago. I have here in my journal some information about some malware on 2029 and 3rd December CVE 2025 55182 and CVE 2025 66478 vulnerabilities, which were mostly related with some tool made by Facebook, where the perpetrator got access to your shell, to your uh, system by the server rendering ability of that particular tool from Facebook. And hacking changed my website and made it serve some casinos from Spain. Initially, the reaction was like, "What the heck?" And slowly managed to work with that particular container. and updated libraries to where the fixes were made, that some particular version. And yeah, that was some experience I had when my website was hacked, but now it's fine. The malware was uh, replaced by the functional code, and if you want to enter some other aspects and understand more about backend, you can look for status page where you can see services, websites, services, and uptime. Everything is green. Websites are green, services are green. You can find the URL in the description. And the thing is, it's somehow exhausting to do pair programming with some guy has no knowledge about, with a guy who only is hungry of I don't know what, of or it feels lonely. So no need for pair programming. It's only code done in solitude that you can also send messages on from the web page. That's by completing a form with certain details. Form is get a quote, full name, email, phone number, company name, which is optional, job title optional, service, lean management, DevOps, lean development, consulting, business stage, idea, concept, validation, MVP, launch, growth, maturity, exit, project description, project challenges, project timeline. Here is mostly a certain number of months, immediate, short term, medium term, long term, flexible. Project budget and preferred communication method, email and phone number. Thank you for watching. I was curious about one conscious aspect of the call to action main view from the page, which was mostly related with reading, and a particular kind of reading where you become conscious of it, and then some steps. So this is related with design, user experience. So as a CEO, many things you can do. You need to hire people, also to fire people, management, and you might need also legal, and most of these things AI can solve, can help it, can do most of these things with AI. And besides, the work you do in development or creation is behind the cybersecurity firewall, and you cannot just there are certain projects you can find online on GitHub, GitLab, also write the links in the description. Thank you.